Oh, it's me. Hi, guys. I forgot to put the opening credits on. Here we go. Good evening, hello, and welcome to our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens. What else? Inks. Don't forget inks, journals and journaling, and just about everything and anything that will keep you inspired. Welcome, and thanks so much for joining me this evening. You, the most cursive literate audience in all of the fountain pen community. I'm very happy to have you here. I see a lot of the usual suspects in the chat. I know many of you come each Tuesday night to participate, or you watch the replay and comment. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks so much for adding to the conversation. This channel is truly a journey. It's one man's journey through inspiration, through writing. And I often say a river of ink runs through my life. So I'm very happy to share it with all of you. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. My best and brightest friends. So much to get to tonight. So much fun. So little time. I have been really into Waterman. I don't think that's any surprise to any of you. And I've had quite a few videos recently on Waterman. And I did recently get a pretty brilliant Waterman pen from the lovely Joost Appelboom. And I thought I would get it up in the live show rather than putting it into the regular rotation. I've probably done quite a few Waterman videos lately, so I thought it would be more fun, something original, something interesting to share my passion and love for this particular Waterman fountain pen, put it into some perspective, and to share everything I know and everything I think you need to know, if you don't already know, about this glorious, interesting pen. And I'm sure you'll be hearing much more about Waterman on this channel in the weeks to come, because I am quite enamored with Waterman as a brand. Lots of other stuff to talk about too. We, the Society of Inky Hands, which I've dubbed myself recently because I just can't seem to escape getting ink all over my hands. I haven't yet this evening, but the evening is young. And I will be sharing my vintage inkwell, which I've recently filled. And when I fill this Waterman pen, I will fill it from this 100-year-old inkwell, because it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun to do that than from a bottle. So we'll talk about that a little bit. A few things I think are important to share. One is that next weekend, so a week from Saturday the 18th, I'll be at the Paper Mouse in West Newton, Massachusetts, at around 3. Probably show up a little earlier, 2:30ish. I have an appointment with Kirk Spear, who's going to work on a couple of my fountain pens. I believe it's going to be my Pelican M600 and one of my Aurora Optimo. So I want to get those probably turned into smooth custom smooth italics. Is that right? Yeah, sounds right. He does a brilliant job with that. He did it for my Twisbees. I can't imagine how good it'll be on those two pens. So very excited about that. So why am I telling you? If you'd like to meet me, I'd certainly love to meet you. Plus Helen and Imogen will be with me, and they are far more interesting than I am. So I think you would enjoy that. Sister Goldenhair is also sharing that she always has ink on her hands these days. Me too. I'm pretty clean now. It's rare, but it's fleeting, I'm sure. But it is. I recently have given a bunch of fountain pens to my staff at work. I had a new person join my team, I'm very excited about, and I gave him a Scribner fountain pen, a really nice one, and I hope he enjoys it. So I had to fill it for him too. So super excited about that too. I love sharing pens. So a couple notes on videos. I always like to kind of do a commercial for myself before I start, but I will be starting early tonight. I'm destined and determined to get into my main topic a little sooner this evening. That's the plan. But last week we did a video on a Waterman expert, which was a blast. It was the opera fountain pen series there, and I was really proud of that video. I know many of you saw it. It did quite well. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I was particularly proud of being able to show the inside of the Paris Opera without actually having gone there. I was in Paris last summer. I did not go to the opera. I rather wish I did, but I did not. But I went to their website and they had a virtual tour, so I was able to kind of mimic as if I had been there, and it matched up beautifully in the video. You get the history of the opera, you get the history of the pen, and all those beautiful Waterman associations and the history of the brand. So if you haven't seen it, do check it out. But this week's video, I am super excited because it's sort of the wow, why didn't I think of that sooner video this week? And this is another top 5 list. And this one is top 5 fountain pens for journaling. How in 4 years have I never done top 5 fountain pens for journaling? I feel like it's partially because it's so obvious that I just haven't done it. And I decided to do it because I have a lot of feelings. Journaling, of course, fountain pens, but journaling is so much at the heart of this channel, and there's so much to be said about which pen you choose for your journaling and how it inspires or sets the mood or helps to direct your penmanship or beguiles you with its beauty, distracts you, whatever it is. There's just so much to say. So I am super psyched for that. I have a super chat from the very generous Socrates0603. Hello, I really appreciate it. $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Congratulations on hitting 40,000 subs, Mr. Jones. Socrates, thank you so much for noticing. I appreciate that. Yes, we hit 40,000 about an hour ago. Thank you. I do appreciate if you do subscribe. Let's get it well over 40,000. I would love that. But thank you so much for your generous support of the channel with that super chat and for helping me to celebrate this incredible milestone. 40,000. Who would have thought? 40,000. It's amazing. I'm so humbled by each and every one of you being here. I remember when I first started, and I'm feeling some of that again because I started another channel and it's very, very sleepy over there. But that's okay. That's how it goes. But I remember this channel when I think the best analogy I ever made is that I felt a little bit like this satellite that was out in space, looking at things, seeing beauty, and beaming a signal out into the ether, hoping that someone would hear it. And then one day I got my first comment, and I think I got emotional, like tears, because somebody actually commented something back. And I think it was nice, which was also a plus. And, you know, anyone who does YouTube knows that it's heartbreaking and it's a lot of work, but it's also amazingly gratifying. And you make some of the best connections with people that you could possibly imagine, especially here in this generous community. And I'm just so pleased to be here with all of you. So thank you for helping me celebrate. MT with this cool fist bump emoji. I hope that made it through to you guys. Very cool. $3 too on the super chat. Thank you so much. Really, Really interesting. I'll mention something else. I have David Watts here from Pen World. He's in the background. You can't see him, but he is here. Unless he trips over a light or something, then we'll see him. But hopefully I got all the wires out of his way. But I believe I mentioned to you that I am being interviewed for Pen World. He came to take some photos of me in action, which is a lot of fun. And he had already come. We had a wonderful conversation. So it's a lot of fun. I'm pretending like he's not there. So, but if you see my head moving funny, it's probably because I'm looking at him, but I shouldn't be. Just pretending he's not there. He's a very good guy. Okay. So a few other things. I have been dipping in to some Grail pen territory again. I tend to put my Grail pens into my rickshaw Fillmore. This one from Atlas Stationers from the sidewalk sale in Chicago. It's getting a little dirty. These clean up really nicely, though. I got ink all over this, and I used Windex to get it off, and it came right off, which is nice. But I've been carrying some heavy hitters, and I've been thinking about these pens, so I have a feeling they're going to show up in some lists soon. Of course, a Montblanc 149. I criticize Montblanc quite a bit, as you know, for QC, for price, and some other things. But it's really hard not to sort of be a little bit starstruck when you see a 149, that gorgeous two-tone nib, and that shiny proprietary resin, as I like to call it, because precious is a little precious on its own, isn't it? And you can see it reflecting the ring light magnificently. So, very lovely pen. This one, of course, in fine. I use this quite a bit. But it's very much a yardstick pen, isn't it? Or a benchmark pen. Or a masterpiece pen, if you will. Which is what it is, right? But it's a pen by which we measure many others. So, it'll always have that kind of value. Personally, I prefer older ones. Even though my oldest one's only a decade old. But still. Another pen I really find myself obsessing over and playing with quite a bit is this sort of patently kind of ridiculous Pelikan 809, M809. It's just hard to figure out why you would cover a gold nib in black, and yet I love it. I love everything about this. I love the ink window. I love the way it writes. I love how tactical and stealthy it looks, how it's like a polished piece of obsidian, this cap, or a piece of flint, if you will. There's something very aggressive about this pen, yet it has a certain quiet elegance, a sort of refinement. I see this as a very posh pen, and it has those perfect dimensions. The M800, just a perfect dimension for writing. It's very comfortable. Yeah, I quite like this one. I think you can tell it's a bit on the heavy side for a Pelikan, but that's okay. I don't mind heavy pens. Now let's go the opposite extreme when it comes to weight. A pen that has never gone away in my usage pen cases, the Pilot Custom Urushi. This I acquired last August, and it's been near me ever since. It's just such a stupendous pen. It's a lot of pen. It's very thick. Has a blue feed. I think more feed should be colors. I love blue. This very soft nib. Beautiful pen. Beautiful decorative process that's been going on in Japan for 10,000 years. Decorating with Urushi, which is also similar to the oil in poison ivy. So you can get pretty nasty rash from this stuff if you meet it anywhere else in the world and not in layers that have been cured on this pen. But an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fountain pen. So that's kind of what I've been writing with these days. These days. These have been interesting days. How have they been for you? I find this time of year a little tough. For me personally. I think there's something about coming out of the darkness of winter and being plunged into the expectation of spring that I find particularly trying on my composure. And I think living in New England, in a sense, compounds that, because we are teased with beautiful springy days, and then it gets whisked away from us. In particular, today I woke up and it was snowing, like actual big flakes snowing, with snow on the ground. And I drove to work in the snow, and it was about 30, 32 degrees. I don't know how that happened. And then tomorrow the high is like 50, but it'll be 28 when I wake up tomorrow. And yet it's going up to 80 next week or something, 75. So it's crazy. But that's just how it is. But we are here this evening to speak about one of my favorite fountain pens. One of my favorite brands, one of my favorite pens. This is a lovely, lovely donation from Yost Appleboom to the channel. I always tell you when things come in free so that you know. I'm completely transparent with that. This gorgeous fountain pen, I shall show you on the secondary camera. Just a moment. Oh, yes. Look at that, huh? We talked about the Opera Edition Expert. This is the Opera Edition Carène, which is such a beautiful pen. And I'm so excited to ink it up and see how it is and to share some facts. I mean, look at this. Look at this nib. I'm going to get rid of myself for a moment so we can all take this in magnificently. This nib will never be this clean again, and that's the truth. I love pristine nibs. It's just pure gold, shiny. Now, one of the things I love about the Carène, and I'm going to get a little bit out of order, I do have show notes, which I do sometimes rely on, but I rarely read verbatim. The Carène can be had for $260 so for the basic model with the gold nib. This, of course, is the Opera Edition, and I believe it's about $692. I looked it up on Yost's site. So it's a lot of pen, and you really have to be enamored with it. And I can understand if you are, because I get the value of buying the basic of any pen. But at the same time, you look at this W on this cap, this shiny gold cap. Sometimes you just need the thing. You know what I mean? And I think you do. Sometimes it's the price of entry and you just have to have it. Sometimes your heart calls out for something more extraordinary. And at that point, value propositions, they have little matter. They're not the main calculus in your purchase or your longing. Instead, it's based on emotion, on attraction, on some deep sense of aesthetics you have, or something that you feel that you can learn from owning this pen. And I'm equating this with a lot of pens. I've dropped some serious money on pens before. I'm not guiltless in that regard, but many of them have been investments in my own sense of inspiration and fulfillment in a real way. There's also been disappointments too, so you really want to get it right. But I'm thinking of something like the Pilot Custom Urushi. That pen, I just love that thing, and it's so great to write with, and it's such a beautiful, interesting pen with so much history, like the pinnacle of fountain. It might actually be the ultimate grail pen. I've said that in one of my videos. Well, the Carène is almost the opposite extreme in a way, and in a great way. And I'm going to kind of get it off the pen a little bit and talk to you directly. I often say that Waterman is the most underappreciated and underrated fountain pen, and there's a big reason for that, and that is that there are many pen brands that are hyped out there. Pelikan has its own fan club. You know, they meet up And I actually need to go to a Pelican Hub one day. It inspires that kind of loyalty and passion and creativity within that community and sharing. And that's wonderful. Mont Blanc also has so many boys and girls. I consider myself a bit of a Mont Blanc fanboy, even though I'm slightly disillusioned. We talked about that at length. But still, there's this whole cult around Mont Blanc. People that just think it's the ultimate. Arguably yes, arguably no. But Waterman doesn't get that same hype level. And in fact, anytime I read a post on a forum somewhere, or anytime I do a video on it, there's always detractors. And there always will be detractors, no matter what the brand. But they tend to sort of say the same sort of things, and some of which we're going to address this evening. Because I think when you look at a pen, you should also address some of its criticism. But when you think that you can get a gold nib fountain pen that writes so smoothly and so beautifully, starting at 260 and going all the way up to almost 700, that's pretty great. I mean, that's a true luxury pen at a value proposition, depending on where you drop in for that value. Maybe this attracts your eye, and I'm going to share some of my other ones. So this, of course, is the Opera. Maybe you have to have it. I get it. Why do I get it? Because I had to have this one, the Reflections of Paris. Had to buy this. Love this. Beautiful pen too with the shimmery cap. I'm not sure this is still available. That's the other thing. These are more limited editions. I'm sure you could find one, because generally pens that are out in the last few years, you're still able to find them somewhere. This, of course, is an amber. This is 20 years old. One of my oldest pens, not the oldest, but one of them. I'm not sure if I have ink in here or not. I don't. But this I believe I bought somewhere around 2005 or so. This is it's a little dirty, by the way. This is the infamous one that I think I mentioned to you, that I was talking to someone and I turned around and I jammed the nib in a doorway. And it was all askew, just terrible, terrible shape. And I sent it back to Paris, and they fixed it for me for free, which I was just absolutely delighted. Now, that, of course, was 20 years ago, but still, what a wonderful thing. So I'll always have a hole in my heart. Hopefully not. A place in my heart for this particular fountain pen, because we've already been through it. It almost was destroyed, and it was very nice that they made me whole. I do want to recognize the lovely Mary Madden. Hi, Mary. How are you this evening? $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. HJTS, what an influencer you are. I resubscribed to Pen World. It's such an elegant journal. I'm so glad that I could inspire you to do that. It's a wonderful publication, and especially the August issue. It's terrible. But yeah, I will be in there. I am psyched about that. I'll be honest. It's pretty exciting. So thank you, Mary, for your generous support of this channel. Mary is such a source of inspiration for me. I'm really, really glad you're here. Thank you. Okay, so Carène, Reflections of Paris versus Opera Edition. I don't know, guys. I really like both of these pens. I always have said that silver as a color, palladium, and gold, they don't really go together, in my opinion, but this one pulls it off. The gold and the silver, if you will, as a color. They just work together. This is pure gold and shiny. This doesn't have the depth. This is carved so you get the depth. But I like the purity of this. Gold, black, and the W's for Waterman. A lot of fun. I do quite like this. So there are things to like about it. And of course, Carène, I believe, means the keel of a ship. So the design, of course, is nautical, based on mid-century speedboats, something like a Chris Craft. I open up this page in a Slim Aaron's photography book I have, which shows some people with bigger bank accounts than I have cavorting on a vintage Chris Craft somewhere in the Riviera. So, but that's the inspiration to this, and it has a bit of that late 90s minimalist elegance, sort of Art Deco refined, right? You feel like the DNA here was probably Art Deco in the design, but if you recall, there was kind of a movement from the mid 80s to the mid 90s of Neo Deco. So I believe when this was certainly designed, it would have been at the at that time. So, because it came out, I believe, in 97 or 96. 97, I believe. Feel free to fact check me in the comments. But such an elegant pen. I'm almost hesitating to fill it because it's so pretty. I wish I took more pictures of it when it was pristine. I often forget as somebody who makes videos. I'm actually kind of psyched, as an aside. If I can find it. Hold on a second. Yes. Okay. So let me show you this. So I've been working with the Wall Eversharp Skyline, new one. And Frank Zhang sent me two. It comes in two nib sizes, fine and medium. And he sent me a fine and a medium of the exact same pen. So what I did is I filled one, and I'm going to leave the other one for photography. So that would be fantastic if each time people sent me two, because then I could have a pretty one too. But I do think it's probably time to fill it. And what better, if I'm going to fill it, shouldn't I do the honor of filling it from the Egyptomania inkwell, which makes its glorious return to the Hemingway Jones channel. I'll tell you a quick story about this in case you're new. The Egyptomania inkwell, when I bought my Egyptomania fountain pen from Mont Blanc, I did a Google search of Egyptomania, and there was a vintage shop in Scotland that was selling this, and I thought it was kind of expensive, so I didn't buy it. But I lusted after it, if you will. And then I did a follow-up to the Egyptomania, and I Googled again, and it was still available, and I bought it. I forget how much it was. I have the receipt somewhere, but I think it was somewhere around $250. I'm thinking. And now I think it's worth every penny because it's just so interesting and cool. But that's how I got it. Oops, that's me. There we go. So I love the iconography. It's not purely Egyptian. It's sort of filtered Egyptian, what someone thought Egyptian was. But we have a clay de sapphire in here, as we often do. And I'm going to try to gently fill this without messing up my camera. I'm reaching over very awkwardly. This will probably be the picture that'll get into Pen World, by the way. Okay. This is not at all awkward, ladies and gentlemen. You know you have to pump this a few times. You can't even see the piston. You know, that's the funny thing, too, when you make videos. Sometimes you can get a little criticism about how you do stuff. But sometimes you're sacrificing so much for the right camera angle. Like, I didn't want my hand to be blocked by or to be blocking the inkwell, rather. Okay. So here's a couple important things that aren't often spoken about. If you get one of these for yourself, do you see these little side fins? And the camera's not super great, so I hope you guys can see it. There it goes. See the little side fins under there? Just, you have to make sure you dry these, because when you fill up your pen, you're probably more apt to dry the top or the bottom or something. But if you forget to dry these, it can inject a little bit of ink into the cap, and then you're going to think your pen's leaking, but it's not. It just needs to be cleaned. So keep that in mind. Sometimes when I hear people saying, one of the criticisms, that their Carène is leaking, I often wonder, did you clean under the fins? This posts. I have posted this for years. I don't post this. So maybe this one I'll post. I don't know. But it does post nicely. Very nice size. Feels really good. Very seamless in its design. Very flowy. You know, it's got this sort of asymmetrical taper in the back. Right where the engine would go if it were a mid-century powerboat. Let's see. I don't even know what size nib this is. Oh, it feels like a fine. Could even be an extra fine. Wow, it's really nice though. This is nice, guys. First strokes are always exciting. You hold your breath for a moment and wonder, is this pen going to embarrass me? Is it going to have false starts? Sometimes they do. Sometimes you clean it. You clean it so well. I'm really not sure what size nib this is. It doesn't say. I thought these had little stickers on them. It doesn't say anywhere here. It sure feels like an extra fine, but it could be a fine. It could easily be a fine. It's certainly not a medium, though. It's got a nice scribing noise. Feels very precise. Feels a little different. I like it. My other two are mediums. It's definitely not a medium. It's nice to have a little bit of variety. Of course, Waterman started by Louis Edson Waterman. And I always thought that this has echoes of the Edson. I do love the Edson so much. I think you guys know that. But this is a bit more attainable, but definitely more elegant, slimmer, sleeker. The Edson is a juggernaut. It's like a bonito. It's got the body of like a really muscular tuna, where this one is much sleeker. But very luxurious, both of them. But very attainable. Hey, I got ink on myself. Is anybody surprised? I'm not. Not at all. It's not from the pen. It's just from me. This Inky Hand Society. Sounds like a Marvel, superhero bad guy or something. But aesthetically, it is certainly one of the most beautiful pens. I love inlaid nibs. I think you've seen that on this channel, that I'm very attracted to inlaid nibs, whether it's an Edson or an E95S or a Carène, or I guess you could call the Defy inlaid. It certainly has that same spirit. But I do love it when it's integrated like this. It just gives it this simplicity, very much like the hull of a ship. So I adore this pen. I really do. Heritage brands. Of course, Waterman being part of Newell Groups, which shares a corporate cousin in Parker, which I really haven't delved into. I love modern Waterman. I haven't had good things to say about modern Parker, but then I don't really know too much about modern Parker. I think my friend Lucas Bell allowed me to write with one of his, and I forget exactly what I learned from it. So it didn't make too much of an impact. I do want to say something else too on these. The opera series you know what? I think the opera series might only come in 2 nibs, right? Oh, no. You know what? Yoast has a bunch of different nibs on his site because you can trade in your nibs with Waterman, but it takes a while. You send them back and they'll allow you to do a nib exchange, like Mont Blanc, which is fantastic if you're patient. And you could trade in a fine for even a stub. I hear their stub, it's like a 0.9. I haven't written with it. I have written with a gold stub, though, guys. I filmed it earlier this evening. We spoke about this on last week's show because David here had a gold nib stub, a Schaefer Legacy. So I got to write with it before the show. And I filmed it in case I ever need to show it on air. Ooh, there's a fly. Where'd he come from? Scary. I'm afraid of flies. So, that was exciting. I'm being attacked. Live television is a lot of fun. Oh, I'm gonna kill you. I'm doing battle with a fly. Okay. We have. I should keep this in my regular show, my Thursday videos. Which I should remind you again. This week's video I am so excited for. I really think you're going to enjoy it. It's the top 5 fountain pens for journaling. And I am so excited to share that with you. I think you will really love it and enjoy it. And next week is another kind of journaling video. I guess this is more of a fountain pen video because it's fountain pens for journaling. Next week is a journaling video. I almost don't want to tell you, but I think I should because I should hype up my own videos. It's journaling secrets from Stephen King. I think you'll really like that. So I talk about Stephen King, his writing process, how he uses pens, some of his works, a whole history of him, everything else done in that documentary style that you've known to love, hopefully, from Hemingway Jones. That's next week. So it's a pretty strong lineup this year. I'm really proud of the episodes that are coming out. I really like that idea. I hope you enjoy it. That's next week. And I think I called it Journaling Advice from Stephen King. But I might change the title before it's released. I do that from time to time. But getting back to our showstopper, which one do you prefer out of these 3? Honestly, I'd love to know which ones you like. Oh, I also need to recognize another super chat from Brianna Bell. Thank you so much. $5. Thank you. Hi, I usually binge watch episodes while doing my own thing. This is the first time being live. Thanks for the thoughtful and relaxing content. Thank you so much. Thank you for the lovely, supportive super chat. I really appreciate it. And welcome to the live show. I'm really happy to have you. So thank you. This Essence of Paris, shimmering. Think of the Seine at night. Light dissolving into the ripples of the water. The Opera edition, gold, flatter, beautiful W style. Almost kind of like a Louis Vuitton pen. That's how I see that. And then the amber, classic, beautiful. Used to be kind of entry level, has gone up a bit in price, but still a good bargain. Last time I looked, it was in the 3s. I forget exactly where, but if you had your choice, now that I have a fleet of Waterman Carène. Carènes. Is it appropriate to add an S? Why not? Yeah, I'd be curious to know. So, I think it fits in a really interesting segment because it's a European pen that's a luxury pen that you can get at an entry level under $3, and then you can pick whatever trim you like. Sort of like, you know, whether or not you want rich Corinthian leather in your Oldsmobile, you know. You pick your trim level and what you're willing to pay and what inspires you. But you do get an absolutely brilliant fountain pen that just writes so well and just feels so elegant and interesting in your hand. And I think that means a lot. It certainly does to me. I've been inspired by Waterman my whole fountain pen career, if you will. It was the first brand I ever used and abused because my first Waterman, as you know, I snapped in half, sadly. And then rejuvenated with the Phileas, which I still have and love. The Charleston, which needs to make a return on this channel. Such a good pen. Used to be able to get the Charleston really inexpensively, as low as like $120, but I've noticed like it went up. I've only seen them in 2 colors. I've seen a black and a yellow. I have a yellow. So if you know any other colors of Charleston, let me know. Was it Chrysler with the rich Corinthian leather? I'm getting some comments on that. That was slightly before my time, but I should remember that one. But yeah, that's kind of how it is with some of these pens, isn't it? I do hear another criticism on the Carène that at certain angles, it won't write as well for you. It's not one that you can rotate too far. Some nibs are more amenable toward being twisted in different directions. This is certainly one I think you should try to keep parallel to the bottom line. They tend to be cut with some kind of sharp shoulders almost. I've almost felt like some of the mediums with Waterman feel like mini stubs, if you will, just in the way they're cut. So I never really tried it, but I can't imagine you can put it at too twisty of an angle and get the best results. Debbie, I see Debbie's a big Phileas fan. I love the Phileas. I haven't had one out in a long time. I'm wondering whether or not the Skyline could possibly be a modern Phileas. Affordable, Art Deco inspired. What's challenging me a little bit about this, I'll show it for a second again. I know we just talked a little bit about it. I am putting this through sea trials right now. When I review a pen, I take it to work for at least a week or so, and I try to write with it and all that. And I quite like it. It's pretty, and it's got great specs, and it writes well so far. It feels good in the hand. I'm a little challenged by the aluminum barrel, you know, a little bit. It's not my favorite pen material. And it can be a little cold when you first pick it up. It does warm up to you quickly. It sort of reminds me of one of my rock climbing carabiners in feel. They can dent. It can dent. It can also be endlessly recycled, by the way. That's the one thing. You never need to make any more. You can just keep circulating it. But it doesn't have the warmth of resin to me or some other material. So I am struggling with that a bit. But I have to weigh it, because just because I don't prefer a material, that doesn't make it bad. But it does make it worthy of commenting. So I did mention its cartridge converter. I'm sure you saw that. It'd be brilliant if it was piston fill. I'm not sure how that would work. I do like how kind of black and gold. That's pretty sleek, even without the cap. It's pretty nice. I enjoy it. The paper I'm using is Menacine, which is very reliable. And this particular one is huge. Very big. I believe Scott Lasky got me this, if memory serves. Doesn't always serve, but he's a lovely chap. Lovely. By the way, had a bit of a ghost cat sighting. I was recording a message for the members. I like to do little updates, kind of behind the scenes when I'm recording on the weekends. And I saw my cat go under me, and then I looked and there was no cat. And it happens to me so often. It's a little spooky. It's become a bit of a meme on this channel. I got this lovely ghost cat to remind me of my ghost cat, which I don't believe in, but evidently believes in me. So it's not a bad thing, but it is kind of funny. So pretty excited for this week. I really am. I'm pretty excited for the channel. Got a lot of really interesting stuff coming up. Trying to balance things. I don't want to stay too much in any one area without balancing out. I feel like I've done a lot of pen reviews, and I don't do a lot of straight up reviews, but they can be fun, especially if I'm into the particular pen. It can just be so fun for me as someone who makes videos, because each video takes at least 12 to 14 hours to make. And that's probably not even including scripting. I was writing a script this evening for one I have coming up this week, which is a top 5 list that I'll be making this week and will air in the middle of June, because my production schedule is about 2 months out. So it's interesting. Sometimes I rearrange things if I feel like I was on a tear in any one area, and I might want to work in a journaling video or an ink video or something like that. So if you join the channel, and I had many new members, welcome to all of you. Thank you so much. Being a member is like being a producer of the channel, and you get your name at the end credits. So if you see yourself in the end credits and then you fall off, and then you come back on, it's because that video was taken out of order. Because each week I print up the members and I do a thank you to you, because it means so much to me. Thank you for your support of the channel. You keep the lights on, you keep things rolling. So I always put that at the end, but if I put them out of order, I don't want you to be disheartened if you suddenly see yourself disappear. Because sometimes people are like, what happened? I disappeared. I'm like, well, I just moved it up a few weeks. And that happens sometimes. So Turtle Whiskers, I appreciate all your work you put into all your videos, HJ. Thank you so much. I know you do. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Very, very, very kind of you. So thank you. The other thing I'm thinking about, once again, the 147 is a travel pen. Great pen. I'm obsessed with it. I love the dimensions. It's upside down. Good thing it's in there tightly. I love the dimensions of this pen. It's just such the perfect sort of 146 size, and Bordeaux is just the ultimate color. I love everything about this. And I love having the carrying case, but it's so impractical as a travel pen. Very cool as a take it to work pen. Very nice portable, but kind of dangerous to take through TSA or to Italy or France or something. I've done it. You've seen me do it. But I'm thinking about some interesting perspectives on travel pens that I might roll out this summer too. I do like the case. It's a little on the stiff side, but I guess it's supposed to be. But very nice. Thank you for sending me this. I appreciate it. So very fun stuff. They're just my little obsessions. I still have the Paper Republic journal. Oh, it goes this way. Has my name on it, which is really nice. I can't wait to demo this. I haven't yet. I do have the little card holder Mount Fuji insert, but there's nothing in here at all for any of them. I haven't quite thought of a use yet. I might do another educational journal like I did with the A5. That would get me writing in it right away. The other thing I was thinking is like some of the stuff I work on for the channel. But then I might not want to show that on camera. I don't know. So I have to think about it. But I'm kind of excited to delve into this. It's an interesting thing. Ooh, it's got a good smell. You know what it smells like? It smells like rich Corinthian leather. It really does. How about that? Beautiful color, too. This one is Venezia. It's sort of a kind of a burgundy, but maybe a little more on the bluish purple, where it's almost into like aubergine. So, a very lovely color. Very excited for that. So, you'll see this on the channel very, very soon. Oh, and my new channel, which I really need to start plugging on this channel if I ever want anyone to watch me over there, is A Life Well Worn. I kind of opened it soft, put up a couple videos and a bunch of shorts. It's mostly shorts. That's the point, but there will be long videos on men's style, history of a cricket sweater, perhaps. I know I'm going to do the trench coat soon and a few other things, so I have some interesting scripts I just have to get around to filming. So that's at A Life Well Worn. I'd love to see you over there. It might not be your cup of tea, and that's fine, because we'll always have Hemingway Jones. This will always be my #1 focus and my favorite hobby, where I spend all my time. Ink Stained Adventures with a $2 super chat. HJ, you need to travel with me to Japan this fall. That would be brilliant. I would like that. I would have a hard time, to be honest. I would really like to go. I'm dying to go to Japan. I mean, the stationery is insane. Culture looks really interesting to me and everything else. And by the way, thank you very much for the generous super chat. But I would have a really tough time with my back being on an airplane for that long. I just don't know if I could physically take it. I'd like to. And I know my wife wants to go one day. But going with you would be a blast. So we should all meet up somewhere. Let's meet up somewhere. Socrates said, something very true, Socrates, thank you. It would be helpful if you put the link to your new channel in the description of this channel's video. That would be very helpful. I should do that. I'm not the best at promoting myself, am I? I'll struggle to do that, and I will do it. Because it would be nice to see more of you over there. It is a lot of fun to do something a little different. It's almost like a palate cleanser, if you know what I mean. You do a lot here, and then I do that, and it's a little bit different. And then the most important thing is that I used to post some fashion-oriented stuff on this channel, and I know many of you were probably wondering why it was here. It's because I really like it. And now it won't disrupt the flow of Hemingway Jones being about inks, journals, journaling, stationery, inspiration, and better mental health through journaling. That's the idea of this channel. So just trying to keep my life a little bit more organized. So we'll see. Oh, another lovely super chat. Thank you so much. The Outdoor Dude, love it. $20. Thank you so much. Loving the channel. Keep it up. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your generous support and helping to keep the lights on. Thank you. You guys are the best. It is a lot of fun for me to do this. I really like these Tuesday nights. It gives me a nice way to orient my week. It was very strange when I did an episode without you all here. So you would have something to watch, but it felt very hollow for me without an audience. I'm really lost without you guys. So thank you so much. Oh, it looks like there's going to be a meetup at the Atlas Stationers Sidewalk Sale, August 13th and 14th, 2026. That's a brilliant idea. That's a fantastic event. I was there last year. I had such a great time. So much fun. Highly recommend it. And if you want to meet me and you're in the New England area or thereabouts, I'll be at Paper Mouse, 2:30 on the 18th of April, 2026. I have a 3 o'clock appointment with Kirk Spear to remake a couple of nibs for me. I think it'll be my Optimo and a Pelican M600. And then I'm around and we can chat. So if you're in the area, come to meet me. It would be lovely. And don't miss this week's video. This week's video is top 5 fountain pens for journaling. How have I never done that before? So super excited for that. I hope you enjoy it. And next week, journaling advice from Stephen King. So we can delve into the world and the universe of Stephen King. He had a cinematic universe before it was cool. So definitely an innovator. I think you'll enjoy that. So thank you all for everything. It's always an absolute blast to spend an hour with you all. I appreciate each and every one of you. And there's a new video this Thursday. I'm sure there'll be some shorts going up. And most of all, next Tuesday night, I will return. So everyone, thank you. Much love. Take care. And I'll see you further up the road.